Well, someone just yelled, that's not what they call him comes in.
I didn't see it.
That's what I mean. That's great. If it's wrong.
Yeah, that's not, no, would not be me.
Right, Jared?
That's Wes.
It's Wes.
It's Wes's, yeah.
There is one out.
Goodness gracious.
Like I said, when I do. That was one of the best games I know.
Where was he at?
Years. I don't like.
Yeah.
That was definitely. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? So, good, same old.
Area early drawing. And all.
Wes, were you kidding or not kidding? I should send you the video ahead of time when you're
No,
done.
no, no. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
I got you.
Hi. If you don't mind signing in, we'd love to have that. Thank you.
You might get it out in time for later. I guarantee it won't be me. They said cut it off after 15 minutes. Yeah, sit down. I was over. They said we were on the time when it's coming. Yeah, that's fine. No, it's like. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, so nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, they're worried about the heat. They're gonna have water stops and all kinds of stuff.
Maybe surveys. 5 years. Yeah.
So they have their own Western parade, so they show us the different stuff, yeah, because then they run around the festival afterwards, so I think they do so.
I remember.
It's been a while since I've been, I used to hope so.
Just unfortunately, I have no agenda. How many? It's the missions. Call. Yeah. Last year I was international 4 trips. So far this year will be 2. Normally it's only 1 a year. I might. Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Mr. Columbus. Just to get it out.
Yeah, a couple.
So you play the keyboard.
Oh, exactly.
It's all Wednesday.
My first world.
Way to go. Yeah.
They are at the center of college.
Yes.
Yes.
Make sure it gets there.
I think that's more for us. Okay. Yeah, should be. Yeah.
Yes.
It's that.
I got it.
Okay.
I don't think we.
I have a question. That's the actual language in the resolution.
I said. I was just. And, instructor. Another one of these lessons.
I'm sorry.
Well, they do should be, yeah.
So let it be.
It's a soft round. It's a tough round, yeah.
I can do over there, so it'd be written. Yeah. I don't even know if they get it.
So be it.
I should have done.
I'm thinking,
I
really?
should have
Is that
known.
really the question? Okay, all right.
Now we got me really such a.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I have. Yeah, we'll go for a greeting. Oh, you didn't want
I'm gonna do.
With possible about.
Yeah, at least you don't get to that. You don't. Yeah. And if you do have two. Well, yeah. But for now. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it, I'm just.
Yep.
Comes back. It's an application. Here's. It's. No, and then some of them.
Good evening. I now call the Village of Hebron Council meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, August 28th. Please stand as you're able and join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Here.
Mrs. Stoner. Mr. Carpenter,
Here.
Mrs. Mauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter. Yes.
Thank you. We have quorum and Councilmember Stoner is returning from being out of state today, so she will not be joining us. Thank you, visitors, for attending this evening. If you have not already done so, please sign in and get a copy of the agenda. There will be opportunities to speak at 2 points in the agenda. Minutes will be recorded and provided to council for review at a future date. The meeting minutes are official once they've been approved by village council by a majority vote. Today's minutes will be made available once approved and posted. It'll be posted in this office, the post office, and made available online as well. I am seeking a motion for approval of the August 14 council meeting minutes. I'll second. I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Chapman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter. Yes. Mrs. Mauer.
Yeah.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The motion passes. Each department in the village provides routine updates to village council and the public. tonight, we will receive an update from Superintendent Coleman, who's visiting us from the water reclamation facility.
Hello, everyone. You guys, I sent my report to, Mr. Chan. I believe he forwarded on to you guys, maybe. If not, the plant, has treated 151 million gallons so far this year, just over 151 million.
I'm sorry, Tom. I'm so sorry. Council, you did not receive this report, is my understanding. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Oh, I apologize, Mr. Chan. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. I just wanted you to know that
Okay.
way, if you need to expand on anything, you understand why.
Okay, all right. Again, my apologies. The village's NPDS permit, which is our, approval by the EPA to discharge into the Beaver Run, has been submitted, and on August 2nd. In years past, B3 submitted the renewal. Mr. Chin asked that I submit it for this cycle. It's due 180 days prior to the expiration date, which it expires on January 31st of next year, 2025. This year, the NPDS permit is a little different because during this 5-year cycle, which the permit runs every 5 years, during this current 5-year cycle that we're in, the stormwater portion of the discharge permit had a sustained flow rate of your current average flow. During that cycle, it was changed to if your plant discharges over 1 million gallons, you're required to have a stormwater permit now. Two options: going directly to the EPA and submit a stormwater application, or there is the ability to incorporate a stormwater portion in the NPDS permit. That's what I've done. I've met a couple of different times with stormwater people from the EPA. Got everything submitted, everything. Haven't heard anything yet, but there was no issues. It will not allow you to submit the NPDS permit until all the criteria is met. It tells you when you submit it, it tells you what you need, what's missing, things of that nature. So that was done already, so we're well ahead of that. So clarifier 1 had a trough that had like basically had broken. It had a huge hole in it. And I had some pictures sent with it as soon as I can find them. I apologize for that. It looks like I did not grab those pictures. I grabbed a couple of them, but not all of them. But what had happened was, if you guys can see the inside of this back here, there was a huge hole. It was about 8 feet tall, 4 feet wide. So we ended up having to get that repaired, and the company had put in stabilizing supports to eliminate the possibility of that weir collapsing and pushing itself into the weir. So we got, like I said, we got that repaired. Once that was repaired, we drained the other clarifier, did an inspection there, and the company, Big Garbage Construction, had went ahead and put a couple more support beams in that weir as well to help stabilize for any kind of issues that may arise. Also,
What caused the hole? Just old age?
old age, what that is a fiberglass weir, and it's designed with fiberglass on the inside and outside of the weir, and there is corrugated wood that's in there as like to allow flexibility for the freeze and thaw. What happens is that weir will crack, water will get in. We drain each clarifier alternating every year. So what happens is when we drain the one that's completely empty, it ends up freezing, breaking, and that's what happened. They actually had to repair just above the break. That was repaired about 2 years ago. So, so that's what happened. So what the company did is they put 2 sheets of fiberglass on each side and used wooden oak slats to allow for that flexibility. And then they put stainless steel on the outside to help secure it to the weir. So that those corners, edges do not, do the same thing, crack and break and things of that nature. So. We also had the drying beds cleaned out, and new sand added. The drying beds were put in 1964, with the original plant. What it used to be used for was sludge removal. They would take the sludge out of the tall storage tanks that you can see from the road, deposit the sludge in there, let the water drain out of it, take the sludge and dispose of it to land, for land application. So basically now that is used for, if we have to have some plugs done in the infrastructure, that will deposit over in those beds. And then once they dry out, get them removed. Street department, when they go through and do their road cleaning, they'll deposit the grid and everything and those drains and remove those as well. So here's a before picture right here. There's the nap picture. All 3 beds have been done in this fashion. We also had sludge removal, which we do that annually. We do 2 bags a year. Took some pictures. Let me back up because guess what? I just found the hole.
Yeah.
And then that's the repair portion of it. So we did some sludge removal. This is what it looks like when the bags are cut. Again, imagine that. There it is. That's what's inside the bags before it's taken to landfill.
That is the area when you go into the wastewater on your left, there are 4 bays.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what, sludge
Yes.
water, yeah.
And this is an after picture of setting the new bags in.
What's the capacity of one of those bags?
We've had as much as over 1.3 million gallons of sludge pumped into that. This year we had about 800 to 900,000 gallons pumped into those bags. And you okay? So, we had about 35,000 dry tons removed with the bags that were moved out this year. So we got all of that. Had one of the orbital tank that we have on the outside had some weed and stuff in that. We had the weeds removed, and I didn't take pictures of those. I apologize for that. So I tell you guys, I don't want to keep you guys going here. So another thing that we have going on with the I&I project is I have contacted High World Water to do a free service called smoke testing. What it will do is it will we will go around with a machine that will put smoke into the manholes, and then it'll make its way through the infrastructure. And then if you have any illegal connections, downspout, anything inside, you'll get smoke, coming through. Any cracks in your laterals from the main to the house, it will show those, because the smoke will eventually make its way into the ground, through the ground and up. So it's done in a classroom setting. By that, we will have several personnel from various communities, municipalities, things like that. They will go around, and there's forms that they have to fill out, and they will help us observe where these issues are. And then we just coordinate all of that. And then we will go from there and establish where any illegal connections could be. We have ordinance in place that, will allow us to address those issues. There was a sump pump inspection in 1999 that Jason and Sean had done prior to my coming here, and I did another one in 2022, or excuse me, 2002. So, that's the last time those have been done, so, I can't see anyone taking their connections that they fixed and put it back in place, but you never know.
Did you find a lot or a little or?
We found quite a bit in '02. Yeah, we found quite a bit. Those were addressed with previous superintendent, Dave Robertson. As I mentioned, the service is free. However, the village was asked to purchase about 7 gallons of the liquid smoke. It's, USA Blue Book has it for like $60 a gallon. They feel that 5 is enough, but, I just want to make sure that, we have plenty. Also, it was asked that we, purchase lunch for the operators. So, it's up to you. Typically they just do a pizza, something of that nature. So, and then lastly, in 2022, I received the Southeast Section, FH Warning Award, which is, dealing with the pretreatment, program as a whole. This year I was given the state award for the FH Warning Award. So this is the second award that the WRF has received this year. So, and that is my report.
Thank you. Do you need a vote or anything regarding providing lunch for this work?
Take it out.
No, that could be,
Okay.
yeah, taking out some operating.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they going to be checking out all the connections through the whole village, or you have a list that you're targeting, or?
The plan is to collect, to check everything within the village, especially the central part of the village. Out in the industrial part, that I'm unsure about, but definitely within this area here, within the central part of the village. So that's what they did in '02, is this central area, so.
Then does
the property owner, the homeowner, whatever, are they obliged then to repair this?
Yes, according to our ordinance, they have a certain amount of time to remedy the situation.
Yeah, they had to disconnect stormwater into the sanitary.
Yes,
They don't legally have to let you in the house. That's what I've always heard.
that I'm unsure of. No one has given us any kind of brief, if you will, about
Oh,
entering.
no,
But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yes, sir. Yeah, I can't answer that. Legally, they have to. And for the smoke testing, this is an old door hanger that we had previously. And this is a notice that was sent to me by Ohio World Water this morning. I've adjusted to meet our criteria. So if we could, the date is September 24th with the rain date of September 25th. So if we could maybe put it on the water bills, social media, if you want, we can do door hangers, however you guys would like to get it done. But I think social media is probably the biggest outlet right now to do that, to let information there. So, and then everyone typically gets the water bills as well, whether they read them or not, I don't know, but they definitely read one portion of it. So
Tom, you said it was the 24th with the rain date of,
the 25th, the very next day. Yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
you're welcome.
Who gets the honors of cutting them back?
The contractor that we contract with. It's an interesting process. Next time we have it done, I'll definitely invite you all down here for
You
lunch.
should, you should. But you saw my face.
I
and
did.
If you ever want to play poker and win money, I'm your person.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Sorry.
No, please.
In your meal for providing draw the operator, I would recommend that maybe we contact Creative Catering, do box lunches for everybody.
And in the end, I think you'll get a much nicer lunch provided to everybody who's gonna be here doing all this for free.
Yeah.
Rather than just ordering pizza.
Yeah, okay. That's a good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we look forward to the report when it gets out.
Okay,
Yeah.
will do.
Thank you.
Uh,
The next item on the agenda is visitor comments. We have this time reserved on the agenda to hear comments from visitors regarding topics not listed elsewhere on the agenda. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record. Also, we are very eager to hear what you have to say, so please speak loudly and clearly into the microphone. Any visitor comments? The next item up is legislation. The first item is ordinance 2624. It's an ordinance authorizing the administrator and the fiscal officer to enter into a contract with Brocious. Okay, Johnson and Greg's LLC without advertising for certain legal services for the village of Hebron, specifically for planning and zoning and other related matters as necessary. This is the third reading, and I am looking for a motion to adopt.
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilmember Porter and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you, council. The next item is ordinance 2824. It's an ordinance to vacate a certain unnamed alley running between in-lots 197 and 198. This is the first reading. Any questions or discussion on that? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to resolution 2412. It's a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency. This is the first reading. And I just want to mention that the language in the actual resolution did not include the emergency language, but that's not problematic. We can still move forward. I just want to draw your attention to that. So we are, please.
Thank you. This is the legislation that the auditor sends us each. Testing. This is the information that the auditor sends us each year. It's required. In the past, typically they give it to me about a week or 2 weeks before the deadline, which is October 1st. This year we did get it a little sooner. So we can allot a reading or two, and we can actually may be able to get it in for 3 readings, but I do just want to make sure that if we look like we're not going to have a meeting, or we may need to request that the readings be waived and passed so that I can get it to the auditor's office by their deadline. And it represents what they're estimating our property taxes will be for the year, and for the general fund, and then also what the levy would bring in for property taxes for the police.
Thank you. Any questions, council?
Make a motion, we waive the readings on that order, resolution 2412.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Porter that we waive the readings for resolution 2412. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
I'm now looking for a motion to adopt resolution 2412.
I'll second.
If you'll grant me dealer's choice, I will take Council Member Nauer, get you on the record. Made the motion to adopt, and Council Member or Council President Wolf or seconded the motion to adopt resolution 2412. Any discussion?
To declare an emergency.
We already did that. The emergency language is embedded in the resolution and we already waived the readings. Any further discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Narron,
Yes.
Mrs. Stone,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Wall.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you. Both motions, in fact. Okay, the next item we have is council action items. And the first item on here is the elementary school decision. I want to just share something that Solicitor Unti shared with me earlier. Technically, if we take no action tonight, and I want to apologize because I did not realize this. Technically, if we take no action tonight, then we are authorized to move forward. So Solicitor Unti would like council to vote on this issue so that we have on the record what the outcome is. And then we know exactly what council's direction is.
Could I ask for the explanation of move forward?
I'm so sorry, if council takes no action tonight,
Yes.
we're already in contract. So at that point, the administration would be authorized to generate and send a check securing the acquisition of the building. So the point of me sharing this is we ought not take action. Because otherwise then you're by default allowing me to move forward. Yes, so that's what I'm getting at is we ought to specifically state what outcome council's will is. Am I representing that correctly?
That is correct. We're technically in contract to purchase the property. We have a due diligence period that ends here in a week, so we need to act. My preference would be to act on it, specifically allowing council to vote either in the affirmative, yes, proceed with the purchase, or in the negative, not to proceed with the purchase. That way we have the will of the party as opposed to relying upon the existing contract. Okay?
So we owe nothing, then if we decide not to do anything, we owe nothing.
Well, at that point, I would follow up and let them know the outcome, and we would be essentially forfeiting the deposit, right?
Right.
Randy, you say if we do nothing,
Well, other than the deposit, we're not obligated to pay anything else other than the deposit.
If we vote no
If we
tonight.
vote no.
if we vote no, that's
Correct.
correct. That's the end of it. We do have an obligation to notify them in writing of the action the council.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
So I just want to say a couple of things, and I hope you'll forgive me the indulgence. I just want to point out that, as I've said before, I feel that our duty as village government is to do the things that the residents cannot do on their own. Certainly no one could do this project, if it weren't at our level at least. I would remind you that 3 of 4 surveyed residents indicated they thought we should move forward, which makes it certainly more popular than any recently elected mayor in Hebron. I would say that the comp plan that we all just went through that process and council adopted unanimously in spring specifically calls out the planned acquisition of this property. And I would just also point out that acquisition would mean that we have the opportunity to bring local, federal, state, and county dollars to do work that we certainly could not do on our own. The outcome for that space, if we don't take action, will not be in our control. And if we think that folks are, concerned about outlying areas being developed, imagine what it will be like if we do internal, surrounded by complete neighborhoods. So I just wanted to share those thoughts with you as you're deliberating. I'm sure you're already where you need to be as far as making a decision, but I do want to make sure that you take those into consideration. Any discussion? Or a motion? Do you want a motion or Ms. Benbury say yea or nay?
No,
Oh, we need
motion.
a motion.
But again, the motion would be in the affirmative, whether we proceed with the purchase or choose not to purchase the property.
I think before we do anything, I'd like to hear from our fiscal officer of it, whether we can afford it. Yeah,
I was afraid somebody was gonna ask me that. This doesn't want to stay on, okay. Well, we do technically have the money to finish off the purchase, which would be $350,000. We do have that, and I would use the ARPA funds that we have left, and the balance would come then from the general fund. Anything past that, I've already put in the budget for next year an increase in the electric, gas, and insurance. It is impactful to the general fund. Besides that, there is no extra money to do anything. So I'm not sure what you're wanting to know, but we have no extra funds going into 2025 from the general fund, because we have other obligations that I have to make sure we have in case negotiations of things do not work out. So,
when you say anything, you're saying anything on the school.
right, the only thing that I've been able to make sure I put in the budget is for the increase in the electric, the gas, and the insurance. I don't know what other sort of maintenance there would be required. That I have no way of knowing that. But there isn't anything else that I've been able to think. Okay, I've not put anything else in the budget because our general fund budget really can't handle anything else. So I'm not sure if that's answered your question or not. So if you do purchase it and you want anything to, if you want anything done with it, you're gonna have to rely solely on grants.
Purchasing one, and the other thing was, I think, did you get, what it was going monthly cost on utilities and all that?
Yes, and I've gotten that, and that's where I'm basing those numbers on to put into the budget to cover costs if you choose to purchase the building, because obviously we'll have to take over the expenses of that.
That's for the gas in the winter time also.
Yes, the utilities and the insurance, the extra cost to insure the building. But if a window gets broke or if, anything like that, I haven't accounted for anything like that. So I understand that it's, but financially, I just have to speak to that. Did that answer your question?
Yep, good.
Any other questions?
Has the mayor asked you to do anything shady to support this project?
None, nothing.
Okay, just checking.
Talk about due diligence. I've been due diligencing a great deal about this. I know that it does have a lot of memories, and it's, the school roots go deep in the community. And it's really kind of a hard decision to make, but it's even a harder decision when there aren't monies available, at least quickly. And I don't feel that we can afford, for lack of a better word, to acquire property for which we do not have ready funds, not necessarily to do whatever it is we want to do with it. But if our general fund does not have the funds to even say maybe a year will pass before any grant will come through. And then, and maybe even more. It's always easy to say, well, get a grant. Well, applying for and getting it are different. And I really think that the budget for the village is appropriate with the funds that we have available, the taxation, the revenue sources, revenue streams, if you will. But I really can't see indebting ourselves to save a building, even though it's intertwined with the history of the village, and anybody over 50 who's ever seen or breathed in that building is very, very attached to that building. And I understand that concept, but for me, the not having funds available has to override sentiment. So I am moving to not, and however this has to be, I'm gonna have to have some assistance here. The proper wording, I am making a motion to not secure that property.
Second. We have a motion to not acquire the elementary from Council Member Porter, and we have a second to not acquire the property from Council Member Chapman. I just want to clarify a couple of things that you said. First of all, is there any debt that we're discussing? Just making sure when Council Member Porter said indebtedness, we're not talking any type of debt at this point, right?
For the purchase of the
Yeah.
building? No.
Okay.
No, that isn't what I meant to convey.
Okay.
I meant daily things that like we were talking about utilities and if, water,
Yes.
it's just an old building sitting there that something is very likely to have the propensity of that is high.
Okay, and then the other question I have is, I want to learn from this experience. So my question is, when you say that, that we don't have access to the grants already defined, was your expectation that we would have already applied for?
No.
Okay,
No,
so there was no way we could have met that from the
I
very beginning.
understand that, but
Okay.
a lot of thinking, and I'm not saying this body, but people, get a grant. Well, because everybody's at the trough trying to get a grant. I understand that. But I don't think we would get enough out of a grant to get that up and running. Because if you have read, and I'm sure that you all have, what the summary has shown with the demolition costs and partial restoration, partial what's the word I'm looking for, demo, it's a lot. In fact, I think at one of the meetings prior to this, I mentioned that I felt that if that building was acquired and was a total rehab, it would cost more than what it takes to run the village for a couple of years. I think that's pretty high figure. And so we'll go back to the motion and the motion again from me. And was there a second?
Yes.
That we do not acquire the property, and that would save us from, and that would just have to be communicated in writing to the school.
That's correct.
School board.
Yep.
And that could be done on an immediate basis because it has to be because it runs out on the 3rd, I believe, the 3rd of September. So we have to, so time is of the essence, essence of whatever that is, we have to do it immediately. So that's kind of an addendum to the motion.
In my opinion is too, it's not that the school isn't worth saving. I just don't think Hebron's big enough, that much price tag. it would wipe us out. And we have so many other things that need to come out of our general fund. We've got other legal money issues coming up, so we don't know what they're gonna be. I just don't think we're in a position to buy right now. It's my second.
I don't know if now's the appropriate time to make a comment on it, but before we vote, I would like to introduce another issue that we have not discussed or looked at yet. I believe the council is, in essence, desirable to have the property and to not let somebody else control that space. And even if we don't renovate, there's money to be had for the resale of it. I would like to introduce the fact that we have not yet considered a counter offer to them for the purchase of $1. That having not paid under that contract that is out there right now, we could make an offer for that. That would allow us then, that money that would have been spent on that to go towards whatever we need to in the future. Thus not giving up a valuable asset of the village itself. So I think we've not discussed that at all. I'm interested in obtaining thought about it.
I can share that technically we have had, but it's in the context of us deliberating earlier to make an initial offer. And folks may recall that initially the school board in December had attempted an auction. They had lowered the price during that process and still could not secure a bid. And so ultimately, there was a little bit of, feeling out what we might make as an offer, in which we did make the offer, and it was ultimately accepted at the 375. We paid a $25,000 deposit. So now we're running out that clock of essentially exploring and then deciding if we're going to make the remaining investment of $350,000. So I think what's at hand for us at this moment is making a decision about the $350,000. Now, if ultimately the vote is we do not make that purchase, nothing prevents us from including PS. If you want to give it to us, we would take it. But even that, we would need to vote on.
No, I would, if we can't. I don't think $350,000 is gonna change my mind.
But the motion on
It's on the floor and should deserve a vote.
right, I'm interested in voting on it, and hearing the outcome, but what we would do then is after this is voted on, if you want to move forward with that, we can entertain that. Thank you.
So do I understand correctly that this motion that I have proposed and has been seconded can be modified to accommodate something else? I don't understand this last minute
No.
thing.
So for clarity, we're gonna vote on the motion. I think the point Mr. Carpenter raised and the mayor's had alluded to. If after this transaction is void, if council chooses not to pursue it, it doesn't foreclose the village at some later time, approaching them on some other terms or conditions.
No, but for the moment, if this motion that's already on the floor should pass,
Right.
okay, don't know if it will, don't know if it won't. So that does not preclude another negotiation between the school district and the village.
Correct.
Well, that actually on the surface at least makes sense. But like, again, I'm showing my colors here, I don't know, unless it's a really sweet deal, would I be interested? But we'll see.
Any further discussion on the motion to not proceed with paying for the school? Thank you.
Does having the clause of immediate notification to the school system have to be part of that?
No.
Or is that just a technical, okay.
Just to be clear on this, so everybody's clear.
Oh, yeah.
So when you vote yes, that's to accept what she said, it's
Yes.
going to
So a
decline.
yes vote declines it.
That is correct. Thank you, Randy. It can be confusing.
That was. Yeah.
An affirmative vote, a yes vote is not to purchase the property.
That's right.
Sounds like we can move to roll call.
Mr. Carpenter.
No.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Mr. Narron.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes,
Mrs. Ford.
Yes.
thank you, council. The motion passes to not acquire the school. The next item on council action items is the traveling bridge filter replacement project bid award.
Madam Mayor,
I'm so sorry, I just moved right on. Please,
I would like,
let us come back to that. I'm so sorry. I'm ready to just move on. Sorry. Please go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that once the last item that was voted on has been notified to the school board, that we permit the village to go back to make another offer for $1. I believe, given the fact that the school board has already received other notices and they've all been declined, they'll hear officially from us that that's not gonna happen. I do believe that there might be some merit to the fact that if we offer $1 for that, then they may not want to continue with the ongoing costs, and they may not want to incur the cost if it has to be demolition, but there might be an ability to save this property for the village. So I would make a motion that once that process is complete, that we enter into an offer for the fact of purchase of $1.
So I have a motion on the floor from council member Carpenter to make a $1 offer to Lakewood School District for the elementary building. Is there a second?
If you no second, the motion dies for lack of second. This point.
Say something. I don't disagree with what Jerry's saying. But I think we need to let the dust settle on this first before we ever go into thinking about doing anything else.
Let's see, and then we
That's
have one.
fair.
Okay, thank you so much. Council, thank you for your decorum and working through this. I know it's hard work and I appreciate you being open and communicative in this space. So I do want to thank you for that. Now I'm moving to the next item on the agenda. And that is a traveling bridge filter replacement project bid award.
In your packet, our contract engineer, put the, spec together and sent out, to solicit bids to make repair to the traveling bridge backwater filter system. The bid was open, August 14th. We had one bidder, which is Viola, WTS Service USA. The bid came under the estimate from the engineer, which was $450,000. The bid amount was $374,484. So we're requesting the council to direct a solicitor to draft legislation to accept the bid to move forward with the repair work at the water reclamation facility, dealing with the traveling bridge backwater filter system.
Is this a while back, was this the thing that crashed and you had, you all
Correct.
on the track and all that?
That is correct.
And you got it, just pieced together enough to get it to work now, is that great?
It's not, it's working. Yeah, struggling, but it's working.
And is this money in the budget? We have.
We have appropriate money for this project, yes.
So I move we have it drawn up so we can pay for whatever needs to be, however you want to say it.
Draft the legislation,
legislation.
accept the bid according to contract,
It's slips.
so noted.
I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Nauer. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wall,
Yes.
Mr. Nauman,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yeah.
Chapman,
Yes,
Mrs. Blair.
Yes,
Thank you, Council. Next item is the administrator's report.
Couple items to report. Next week, there will be the roadway resurfacing project. The contractor is scheduled to start next week. Which includes Enterprise Drive, Beacon, Sixth, and Gist. The Public Works has sent out the notice and notification to residents and the business in the industrial park, and indicating that the repaving will start sometime between September 3rd to September 5th. So the business and owner in that vicinity have been notified on that. The project is going to take about 2-3 days. It will not be shutting down the enterprise. They will have traffic control. So all the businesses still will have the operation going on, but it's gonna create a little bit time delay, but this roadway improvement has to be done. Yes,
on Enterprise, right as it comes off 79. That turn, and I don't know what's going to prevent the erosion of that turn. But something has to be done, because as soon as that's filled, it gets kicked out. And that's reasonable, because that's a lot of traffic that takes that. And first of all, it's a short radius. That needs, in my opinion, because I've been there trying to make there in the lane, in the turn lane to go north. And those cars just come zipping around, and they don't realize that they don't have much swing room. And whatever the engineers or whomever makes the specs on that, that really has to be done, because that's a danger point. I'm surprised that people don't get whacked one a day over there, because they do come zipping down from the north trying to make that right turn on Enterprise. And they are going simply too fast for what that road is. If there was more pavement there would be more what I call swing road. And I think it would enhance the safety of that intersection. Now, I don't think we have that problem as you turn to go south off that, but even though you can get big craters there, because they're turning sharply. And if we have the time, and if that's not already in the plan, I'm suggesting that be looked at very carefully, because that's a miserable spot.
absolutely. We're working on this one in anticipation, Microsoft working with us down the road to really permanently make improvements on Enterprise. Because right now we're just putting down the asphalt.
Because that really doesn't fix it.
Yes.
Just temporarily at best.
That is correct.
Yes.
And the second item is that staff have been looking at Evans Pond dredging issue. Because right now there's no water in there. And at the same time, because the settlement and the runoff from the cornfields, that really fills up the pond. So we need to find a way to dredge that. Right now, we're beginning to talk to the ODNR and maybe Army Corps of Engineer, because I think that was funded with the federal dollars. We just need to find out what process we need to go through. So it's an ongoing discussion that we're having with the ODNR and the FEMA on that one as well. And Tom had made the reports on the, I finally clarified, number one's been fixed, so, that's that. Part of the, conversation that, regarding the, smoke test is the infiltration and inflow. For the, water reclamation, facility. They have to peak runoff about 3 million gallons a day, which is exceeding their design capacity. And because all the water coming in the cracks or in the manholes or from the illegal connection, stormwater feeding into the sanitary. That's why we get cited by the Ohio EPA. So that's why the smoke test really will help us identify what those connections need to be disconnected, and we need to find a way to address those issues. And then, council member now, and I walked through the drainage ditch, about a month or two ago. So public work is following up with cleaning up the drainage ditch. Currently, they are working, behind the water tower on Main Street to remove the logs. They have found a lot of the telephone poles in there. So slowly we're trying, slowly we're trying to clear the drainage ditch. So if and when it rains, we have not had any rain for a couple of days. That flow will be smooth. Where does telephone poles come? We don't know. And it also.
That's over the years.
Yes, and also I asked them to build that, planning and effort into the annual work plan. So we don't have to deal with every 5 years. That would take a lot of time and effort. And I think that's all I have. From now, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
You said at one time, I think it was, isn't there quite a bit of field power running into that pond over there at Evans Park?
No, there was.
There was, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a 12-inch deep down there, but.
Yeah.
If you go over there,
Oh,
it's
It's
unreal.
not surprising, that pond beside me, it's dried up too, it's just very dry. I'm amazed that the sewer plant can actually put enough in the view to run it, that doesn't contaminate it, because there can't be much water running down there.
Right. This is a perfect time to smoke everything too, so
Yes.
we'll be able to see all.
Yes.
That's correct.
Because your traps, a lot of traps are dried up.
That's correct. Yeah, yep. And one last thing, I just reminded my mayor is that there has been a report that mosquito carried virus in New Hampshire. So we're looking at what kind of mosquito pesticides that we spray. The superintendent ward had indicated that the chemical that we use are sufficient enough, but not deadly to human. Again, there may be there are incidents that there are areas that need to be going back multiple times. But they are trying to look at where those areas are, but at the same time, what they have done as far as spraying to combat mosquito has been effective for now. But any concern or question, just let me know, so we can look at it. If you see any inconsistency or any issue, just let me know.
I'm not sure, but it's been years since I've taken it to test in the whole 9 yards. And they told us then, every 3 years, you need to change the chemical because mosquitoes get used to it.
You mean to that? Yeah, I understand, yes.
And we haven't changed for years.
Okay.
We have information on that.
Right.
And,
Is that what it is?
so it turns out the switching of insecticides is, not a requirement for what we're required to do, because I guess it's related to, the fact that we're not a 12-month spraying community. And, we use a higher dose than the minimum label, and we do this to ensure we're not using a sublethal dose, therefore we're not allowing the population to build resistance. So I guess the assumption is that because we are killing them, they're not languishing and then adapting, is essentially how it was explained. Did I get that right?
Yep.
All right.
Any other questions from me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is council member reports. President Wolf.
I guess I could have brought it up. But, while you're doing all your paving, could you look at the, nice hole out by Sunset and South High? It's where there's been, it looks like it might have fixed a water break there at one time.
That's exactly what.
That hole gets deeper every day, I think.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I don't wanna go around and think it's good there.
Yeah, we'll look at it. Next one.
You might be able to talk to the company and
That's what I'm thinking. I thought that same thing.
seriously, huh?
Because it's nice, got a nice square cut there
Yeah.
where it wouldn't take a whole lot to fill that in.
That's just filled with coal patch. I can tell
Yeah,
you that,
yeah.
because when it broke, it actually saturated that whole area.
And,
And it was just nothing but
Unless you
slop.
got a
I
car
think it was
coming.
dry in it, but it got wet again.
yeah, unless you got a car not coming and get over the other lane, there's no way to escape it. The only other thing I've got is, you've got the public meeting on the 25th of next month for the MY home thing. And, I believe we need to talk again so we can adopt this guidelines for the public meetings that Wes had brought up. I think they look great. I think we need to move on that. Because we gotta do 3 readings on that, or we can adopt it. Do we have to do 3 readings on that? We put it into an.
No, that would be by motion.
Okay,
Does council have the opportunity to review and discuss those and combine?
we get it. And if that's the case, then I'd like to make a motion for you to adopt that into a set of guidelines the way it is right now. If someone wants to change it.
I'd like to at least speak to that. How is 5 minutes magic? You know, and okay, hear me out, okay? I think we encourage people to attend. And if the first thing we do is say, we attend, but you can't speak any longer than that. I think that's not very much of an incentive for the public to think that we are listening to them. I think that in a time when we're trying to build a good relationship with our voters, our residents, that's, to me, is like a slap in the face. I mean, if I'm not through talking in 5 minutes, which I suppose is no surprise to anybody, but it seems to me that 5 minutes puts pressure unduly on people. Now, if they're going 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it's repetition, then that's another thing that can be dealt with at the time that is happening. But I think to say blank, in fact, I think the school in its board meetings has a 3-minute limit. And I just don't think that's appropriate. It's because we have invited and encouraged people to come into the meetings. And I equate that to come into my home and be happy here, be heard. And I think that is throwing cold water on our residents. And I just don't think I can support that.
I think 5 minutes is plenty. You can almost give half your life story in 5 minutes.
Or less.
Now, that's me being sarcastic, but you've got 3 different readings we're gonna have on this. You can do your 5 minutes 3 different times. Most of the time that I've seen people come up here, they're filibustering most of the time anyways. It's the same thing over and over again. I don't mean to be mean about it, but I mean, I think 5 minutes is plenty. If you want more, well then you know, maybe they could request. It wouldn't take anything for us to say, well, go ahead and elaborate even more. We can do it amongst us at that time. It's not saying that, all right, you're 5 minutes up, get the hell out of here, but we can also say, continue. We can also add to that. Am I wrong into that, Wes?
Well, you could, but it wouldn't necessarily be a good practice. It's similar to not having a time limit. And you unilaterally or the chair unilaterally decide, well, you're rambling on now. You've said this six
Agreed.
times.
Not another.
So yeah, so if you're gonna have a standard, it ought to be objective. Whether five or it, now there is no magic to the time limit of 5 minutes, purely, I won't say random, because other communities use it, they use varying times too, but I think you're safer having an objective standard, man.
I mean, you know, I'm not using this as an example, but I watched the Senate hearings. I mean, they give them 5 minutes on the Senate hearing. And I haven't seen where any of them has give their answer back that's been longer than the 5 minutes. But
But they're consistently yielding their time to the balance of my
well,
time.
I'm talking to people that they asked, the ones that they are questioning, they've given their answer and I agree, that's. But, so I have a motion.
Thank you. We have a motion, but technically we don't have a second, so.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Council President Wolf, and we have a second from Council Member Carpenter to institute as written the recommended speech document.
Guidelines for public comment.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Any further discussion?
I don't have a copy. I don't have a copy with me, but is time permitting, are they allowed to come back up again, or I can't remember if it said one time, one.
In the same
One
meeting,
shot.
they're not
One shot in
able.
the same meeting.
So, not that you asked, but I'm gonna give my 2 cents. I just want to remind us that this is like so many other things. It's not a once and for all. So if we find that actually 6 makes more sense, or 2 makes more sense, or we need to retract it, then we do that. We're not marrying this. We're taking it for a test drive and see how it goes. Any other dialogue or questions?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
No,
Yes.
The motion passes. Anything else?
No, I'm good, thank you.
No, thank you. Councilmember Carpenter?
Just to confirm my presence at the finance workshop coming up.
Councilmember Nolan?
I have nothing.
Councilmember Chapman?
Only that I'd like to ask again if the big dirt pile on High Street's gonna go away.
I was thinking about that the other day.
Yeah, I brought it up a while back,
And
and
they
they
had
had process, they said they were gonna get rid of
Oh,
beside Hendricks.
Something,
oh,
They
okay.
said they're
Yeah.
working on it, but I don't think it's.
I don't think it's been done.
We can follow up with them again.
And so just to manage expectations, it's not my expectation that the pile is going to go away.
No, it just needs to be maintained. It just need to be trimmed and grass need to be mowed.
Did they plant seed there? Did I see a bunch of seed?
Did they plant seed? And, okay.
Yeah,
So they're not gonna get rid of the big pile and all that, we just want to mow it.
I think ultimately they're hoping to grade it. I think they're trying to get it level with the current Hendrickson plant.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That was their idea.
As an impression, it was been like,
at one time it was supposed to be temporarily put there,
right, temporary,
seriously.
right.
Is that in writing anywhere? I got nothing.
Where's
If it's not in writing, it didn't happen.
where's Microsoft want to put a road through there?
No.
Is that in right through there?
It's, Microsoft is further
So,
south.
yeah, just south of that.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, Councilmember Porter?
I don't have anything except the state of our flowers. Some of them are getting pretty ragged, but then it's the end of the season. Same thing happened to mine. I understand that, but they were so pretty and added a great deal of, beauty, shall we say, to the village. And I'm really sorry to see them go.
It was brought up to me today also.
Pardon me?
It was also brought up to me. They were sad to see him go today too.
Some still look real good, others are.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Some of them need to be gone and some of them are
That's
still.
what I was gonna say. As soon as they start looking edgy, we probably need to just get them out.
Well, there's 2 baskets that were inspected. In the village green area, the rest of are in decent shape. And I will convey that they need to be watered a little bit more often right now.
Thank you. The next item is the mayor's report. I just wanted to remind council, I did reach out and ask if folks would be willing to volunteer at the Pie Festival. It's a great way to show your smiling face to our residents. Also, Councilmember Nauer has graciously agreed / been voluntold to drive his beautiful 1935 truck, and it's blue, right?
Blue.
That's all I really care about is the color and the year. What is it though? Is it a Chevy?
Yeah.
Okay, and he would be delighted to drive other council members on the parade, through the parade in that vehicle. So if you're willing to ride along and wave, we'd love to have you. We just ask that you either bring a bag of candy for checking out, or if you bring money, then we can acquire candy for you to throw out. But I would really encourage you to consider doing that. It'll be great and the event should be fantastic.
I would do that, but I volunteered to stage. To help stage. I don't know how that'll work.
We'll just, after you get all the work done, Cinderella, then we're gonna put you in the
And I
truck.
got volunteered to set up the pie judging tent.
To do what?
The pie judging tent to help with judging the blue ribbon contest.
Where are the pies coming from? What's the origin of the pies?
The ones that are being sold,
Yes.
Yoder.
Oh, really? Out of, South 30th Street or?
That's my understanding, yes. Okay, the other thing about the Pie Festival is, oh, no, that's everything about the Pie Festival. The next item, we already did that and not. I'd really be interested if anyone's willing to show me their electric bills. I'd like to make sure that those are being reflected if you moved with the energy aggregation group. So I'd like to validate those numbers if anybody's willing
I
to.
tried looking at mine, but I'm on a budget. I'm on budget, so it budgets it out, so I can't get a true number off that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that. Visitor comments? Please stand in line, take a turn. Okay. The next item, reviewing expenses, and I assume everyone's had a moment to look at those and there are no questions. Okay, And then, please note the upcoming meetings and events. And I am now seeking a motion to adjourn.
I can do that.
All right. All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Porter and a second from Council President Wolf for adjournment at 7:11.
Mr. Wolf? Oh, yes.
Mr. Kirk.
Forgot about that.
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Porter.
Yes.
Thank you, council.